Welcome to the 24 Acres of Paradise channel. In this video, I'm going to celebrate the last 50 videos with a 50 video recap. These will be short video summaries giving you an idea of what I've done over the past year. In episode 1, I'm just about ready to purchase the 24 acres, and as you can see, it's a blank palette for me. Just raw land, no fencing, gravel road, or any other improvements. Just a deer blind is all that's there. In episode 2, I finalized the purchase of the land at the title company and talk about how I financed the purchase. In episode 3, I take my family on a search for an RV for the land. RV shopping was difficult due to the low inventory and higher prices, but I did find a great RV. In episode 4, I purchased a 40-foot shipping container for equipment storage. This was a great investment at $3,400. I checked the local dealers today, and 40-foot shipping containers are very limited, with existing containers priced at around $5,000. Here you can see the shipping container at the back of the land. In episode 5, I hire a contractor to construct a gravel road. I have a stretch of land 60 feet wide by 1,000 feet long that starts at the county road and leads to the entrance of the main part of my land. In episode 6, I install a barbed wire fence around the land, complete with H-braces and a gate. After the project was done, I learned you could use a gas-operated fence post driver. Boy, that would have helped a lot if I knew about that. My neighbor spent $13,000 having a contractor to put fencing for his land, which is half the size of mine. In episode 7, my son Christian helps me install a staircase leading to the top of the 40-foot container. I received a comment that the stairs were installed upside down, but I guess it doesn't matter. The stairs work fine enough. And of course I had to paint the stairs red to match. Looks good, doesn't it? In episode 8, I built a deck on top of the container for a nice view of the land. This was a 2-day project including staining the wood and building handrails. In episode 9, I bring a cistern to hold water and a generator to power my RV. I also have a 500-gallon propane tank installed. In episode 10, I have to herd some cattle off my land, and then patch up the opening where they are getting in. In episode 11, me and my son Christian built a shed using a chain link kennel kit I bought from Tractor Supply. Then I add some corrugated sheet metal from the local hardware store. In episode 12, I buy a mini excavator, or it might be even considered a micro excavator, and picked it up from the Houston shipping warehouse. Then I take it back to my land. Got a lot of comments on how to properly trailer the excavator. In episode 13, I start clearing trees around the pond area, and I put the mini excavator to use. It took some practice to get the coordination right for moving the arm and bucket. In episode 14, I purchased an ATV to help move the dirt away from the pond area. Christian helps me by driving the ATV. In episode 15, the pond area gets flooded for the first time since my land purchase. I knew right then that this was the right place for my future pond expansion project. In episode 16, I try to prevent the rainwater from flowing into the pond area by putting a perimeter of cinder blocks. In episode 17, I continue the pond dig and end up with a bent bolt on my dirt cart, so I replace it with a small trailer kit. I had some trouble with the ball hitch and had to replace it. I also came up with a way to offload the dirt from the trailer without killing my back. More digging in episode 18. Pulled up a few tree roots and had to use the ATV winch to literally get out of a rut. In episode 19, I share some of the knowledge I learned from using the excavator. Some of the viewers gave some good advice on its operation. In episode 20, I talk about the 50 amp cord on my RV and also devise a plan to reduce the sound coming from the RV generator. In episode 21, we get a historical winter weather event, with snow reaching well into South Texas. In episode 22, I have to drain the pond for a second time. This time I use a gas-powered water pump to remove the water efficiently. In episode 23, my excavator canopy falls apart. I try rigging it to work, but it was no use. Later I installed a solar-powered light near my RV. I also install a proper front gate at the county road. In episode 24, I start the root cellar dig and have to get my excavator welded because of a crack in the floor plate. In episode 25, I continue digging the root cellar with my son Christian. We're using a jackhammer to cut through the dense clay. In episode 26, I buy a long chain to make it easier to pull the dirt cart from the hole. In episode 27, the root cellar hole floods for the first time. Then again in episode 28. In episode 29, I install a 24-volt gel battery in my RV and end up pulling my back muscle pretty badly. I also start filling the earth bags with soil, as my plan was to use the bags as a wall inside the root cellar. In episode 30, the root cellar hole floods for a third time, but I continue to fill the earth bags with dirt. In episode 31, Christian and I take a break from the root cellar dig and do some kayak fishing on Choke Canyon Reservoir. We caught quite a few catfish and some other fish also. In episode 32, I get my younger son Ethan to help out, and I come up with a more efficient way to fill the earth bags. More earth bag filling in episode 33, along with some land maintenance. Continuing with the root cellar dig in episode 34, and also trying to create a barrier to prevent runoff water into the hole. In episode 35, I put together a shed in a box for extra outdoor storage. That was not an easy kit to put together. In episode 36, I drained the pond for a third time. This was a very wet spring. In episode 37, I do some field trimming and tree cutting in preparation for bringing in big excavation equipment to knock out the pond expansion project. In episode 39, I cut a group of trees down as part of the pond expansion project. I line them up along the fence line as I'll use them later for campfires. In episode 40, I create a video of the different animals I've caught on my game camera. In episode 41, I use the field trimmer to clear the area next to the pond. I want to get a good idea of the topography and how big I want to make the pond. In episode 42, I removed the cinder block perimeter that was around the pond area, since that idea didn't keep the water out. I relocated the blocks to enclose my generator to reduce the noise. In episode 43, I clear an area about 100 yards from the pond in preparation for moving the dirt that comes out of the pond. It will be made into a plateau where I can eventually place a cabin or a tiny house. In episode 44, I'm pumping the pond water for the last time. Did I mention we had a wet year? Episode 45 begins the big excavation of the pond. I brought in a 25-ton excavator and a 15-ton front loader to move the dirt. Episode 46 is day 2 of the excavation. Episode 47 is day 3 and 4 of the excavation. Episode 48 is day 5 of the excavation. We're getting real close now. Episode 49 is day 6 of the excavation. Here I'm finishing up the pond. And here is episode 50. I take a victory lap and review the recent rain that has accumulated in the pond. A good start for the pond, but we need more rain. So this is a recap of the first 50 episodes with hopefully many more to come, so you can see how my land will turn into the 24 acres of paradise. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.